oversubscribed. I'm happy to mention to you that the first sukuk has been issued in Nigeria. It was issued by Lotus Capital in December last year. And I have some slides on the sukuk, if time permits, to be able to go through. With the sukuk, I've ended most of the basic contracts that we need to do Islamic banking. But I need to, in order to appreciate the topic, I'd like to tell you about the operation of Islamic banking in Nigeria, and those who are there and those who are not there. The regulators, as we know, include CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria. It includes NDIC, Deposit Insurance Corporation. It includes Security and Exchange Commission. Hardly ever do people talk about SEC in Islamic banking, and they are the foremost. Like I told you, they gave notice a license over 5 years ago. And the people there are very, very vast in Islamic banking. They've gone all over the world to learn. Most of it, even up to the top people there in SEC. The reason why they are all doing this is not because they are Muslims, most of them are even non-Muslims. It's because the financial hub, that is where business activity has moved from the West to the Gulf region. And it seems to be that it is this non-interest money that is driving development. And that if Nigeria did not open up its space for non-interest money to come and develop the country, we will be in soup. That's why they all started thinking about it, even before Sanusi, even before Soludo. Now, it's also important to mention that the other ones there are the PENCOM. PENCOM, you wonder, Pension Commission, why are they involved? About 5 years ago, when we were starting out at Lotus Capital, I went to PENCOM, I met the DG, and we were explaining ourselves that we were new kids in the block trying to do Islamic banking. And the man was looking at us and looking, he didn't talk. And the man said, "Do you know what I am going through myself? I'll tell you. A couple of months ago, we went to Kaduna. We went to do official assignment at PENCOM. As we were entering the premises, a laborer called us. Say, "Are you the pension people?" Say, we said, "Yes." Say, "May the cause of Allah be upon all of you." You are the people that told us to take our hard-earned money and put it in riba pension. May the cause of Allah be upon you. He brought out the Quran and started reciting verses on them. Everybody has his own story. My own story that brought me into this is also another lecture on its own. It's true. It's true. So that's PENCOM. Debt Management Office, they are here because they are the ones that decide where Nigeria borrows money from. And all the money that Mr. Abraham, that's the person that heads the DG, all they want Nigeria to borrow from is from riba. And I don't know how the economy will be sustained on that. Then we have Federal Inland Revenue Service. The reason why we are bringing them into this is this. Because to make a transaction Sharia compliant, we at times have to buy something and sell something. So we buy once and then we sell again. So two buyings in one transaction. Oftentimes we pay tax twice. And in countries around the world who do Islamic banking, like in UK, once they see such a transaction, they knock off. They know that the bank bought the house because the customer wanted the house. There's no need to pay governor's consent twice, pay stamping duty twice, and so on. So if they don't remove these things, Islamic banking will be expensive, and the playing field will not be level for us amongst our colleagues in the finance market. So that's why they're there. Then we have the Insurance Commission that monitors insurance. We are dragging them into this because we need Takafu. Since I think 95, Takafu has been declared haram. Insurance has been declared haram. We're supposed to use Takafu. Then this one, the most unpopular of all of them, ICRC. They are the ones with the biggest problem among them. What is ICRC? It is the Infrastructure Commission, Regulatory Commission, Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission, set up by an act in 2005 under late Usrah, former president of Nigeria. They are charged with the responsibility of delivering infrastructure in Nigeria. That's why I said they have the biggest headache. For every complaint, road, light, water, health, everything, housing is infrastructure. These people couldn't open shop until 2008, November 27. That's when they started their work. It's also a Muslim that is heading that place. His name is Mansur Ahmad. The magnitude of the problem they are carrying is that it is been estimated that the country requires 32 trillion naira to build infrastructure to put us where we should be. 32 trillion, we don't have that money. And the money is not in the conventional market, because US itself is looking for money all over. So they know they have a problem if they are to do anything at all. So interestingly, a committee has been set up to look into this infrastructure, and this committee is made up of CBN, SEC, GMO, ICRC, and Lotus Capital. That's the name of that committee to look into what we have to do in this area. So for that to mention the legal framework, we have the Company and Allied Matters Act, we have the Bank and Other Financial Institutions Act. The reason why I brought this, people were criticizing and saying that Islamic banking is illegal in Nigeria. It is not true. The first thing you must know is that Sharia courts and Sharia system is embedded in the Nigerian legal system, and that's the fact. And then number two, under the Bank and Other Financial Institutions Act, it makes provision for specialized banks under which CBN has taken its powers to set up Islamic banks. CBN has, we have two types of operators. Different types of operators. You can divide them by those that are regulated by CBN and NDIS, like the banks and so on. Then we have another type that are regulated by SEC, like Lotus Capital, just like I said. Any stockbroker, any issuing house that comes up will be regulated by Security and Exchange Commission. And they are also into Islamic financing. You may not just call it banking. Now we have those regulated by NICOM as well, so that's the careful, like I mentioned. The mode of operation allowed is that a bank, like Zenith Bank, can have a window of Islamic bank. And we can have a bank that will exist whole structure, just like Lotus Capital exists, doing nothing else other than Sharia compliant business. To us as Muslims, the best option would actually be the ones that are doing only that, so there's no chances of the money finding its way into other coffers. It's also important to mention to you that there's a requirement for Sharia Advisory Board, and I must sound a note of warning, because some of us at this gathering are being invited to be Sharia advisors. If you are invited to be Sharia advisor, you must know that you are the people that sit on earth and sign for Allah. You are the ones that are going to sit in those institutions and sign that what they are doing is halal. It's not a very easy job, particularly if you do not have the knowledge of both the Sharia and conventional. Because just like I mentioned, some products are so technical that they will just pass it to you and you will sign. And by signing a Sharia certificate for a product, you have actually passed this fatwa that this is allowable. And we find in many countries that people do it and they are not Sharia compliant. I'm sounding that note of warning. Also, the financial institution you are appraising, you must know that they are not putting the money in the river. So more or less what they do is to ensure the products are compliant and monitor on day-by-day basis. This is the Lotus Capital's Sharia compliance certificate. I just brought it to you. It's actually clear. It says it's a fatwa and it's signed. Yes, you can. Okay. The person who has signed that is Lotus Capital's chief Sharia advisor is Professor Manzur Kaf. He is a professor in the University of Qatar currently. Apart from him, we have Muhammad Bashar of Manapudi University studying under him, because we know it's a tedious job. It takes time for you to call yourself a Sharia advisor. Why? We're going to sell products in the international market. And they will know, just like we know our scholars, they will know who is at the border. They will know who is straight to the truth. And you require those names to sell those products. That's why we chose this Monzo Cap. We hope that some Nigerians will learn from him and be able to build a career, because this is actually a very, very lucrative job. Sharia advisor doesn't need to sit in your bank. He can sit in his house and open an email and guide you. And interestingly, I think the smallest he can be paid is about $2,000 to $5,000. So it's a lot, it's a good. And I heard from one of our brothers, Jibril Saladin, that in Sudan, the head of Sharia is a Christian. Where he learned, he's a Christian, they call him Stephen Young. You can browse, I open my eye, I couldn't believe it. Yes, because you see, that's why I brought the challenges. Where are we? Are we ready to take on the challenge? Because the Christians are. The person who sits next to me in the past 5 years in Lotus Capital that I've been training from the beginning is a Christian. Where are we? And there are lots of people in the market. Ekini, who was deputy DJ, assistant DJ or something, said they are good in this. Dan Eke from Sydney. They've read wide in Islamic banking. Interestingly, you now find a Muslim who has a PhD in Islamic banking. He doesn't believe it can work, and it's not working with us. We do have Muslims with PhD in Islamic banking. And that's why you see when people talk about Fola Diola and Lotus Capital, I'd rather you talk about Hajara and Lotus Capital, because the woman got up and because she seemed to know the current events and has taken the challenge. She went to UK to study it and worked in UBS Warburg and worked in Bank Bangkok and came here and said, this is what I want to do. Now, interestingly, for those of you who invest in shares, I'll talk about equity screening. I'll just breeze over it if there are questions that come up. Like 2 screens we will always do as a Sharia compliant company. The first one everybody knows, that is look at the sectors and take away insurance and banking, take away alcohol, take away people that deal with pork, defense, gambling, and entertainment. That's adult entertainment. But the second screening which we introduced into this market are financial ratios specifically for the purpose. A company, for example, may be dealing in oil, which is halal. But it takes its money, add in halal money, and invest it in riba. So when you do some of these ratios, you are able to capture riba inside the country, a company which on the surface of it does not do riba. So with that, we have an idea, the companies we can invest, buy the shares of on the stock market and so on. Eventually, what we have is almost a 50-50 position as at date. Those that are halal and those that are haram on the stock market of Nigeria. That's a comparison of the Islamic screen and the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Now, let me just mention for a second, because we were talking development, about this sukuk al-istizna issued by Lotus Capital. Just because it is the only one that we have done. And it's a big shame. Why do I say it's a big shame? 70 million Muslims. Well, this is the first time we are doing sukuk. Gambia, with total population of 1.8 million. They are not up towards the Lagos. They issued their own first sukuk since 2008. Yes. Germany, Muslim population less than 0.2%. They issued their own sukuk since 2004. Interestingly, we decided that we were going to do it and we will not let anything bar us from doing it. So what we did is to find somebody who had a prime property. He had a land in Ikoyi. The land is worth 600 million. He wanted to build residential apartments on 5 floors. The contract will cost 1 billion, and he doesn't have that money. So we structured a sukuk to call people to invest in building this property. We agreed payment terms of how much profit he will pay us to buy the house from the project. We agreed to a monthly payment for 3.5 years. So from the day we took on the contract to build the house, he started paying every month, principal plus profit. So we share the profit amongst all the investors of the 1 billion naira. Today, because the project has already reached the final height, we are just doing the internal things and doing the electricals and the ceilings. We started building only in January. So interestingly, when projects have money in the coffers, specifically for that project, they don't get delivered, because what we did is to enter and it's in our contract with a builder and say, builder, we want a house that looks like this. How long will it take you? This is the money. So the contract, despite the fact that a whole month in this year there was no cement in the country, we have already reached the fifth floor. And the investors are being paid. And our own experience, it was oversubscribed. And if you try to work out the returns to the investors, it was between 7 and 12%, depending on the tenure you bought. Some people bought 6 months, some people bought 3.5 years, and so on. And 2 coupons have already been paid. So the ones that we are selling are people that bought 6 months and want to go out, that we have. So the sukuk is working, property is being built, it works. This is the structure. It will be in your notes. I'm not going to worry myself about it because of the level of all of us. It's important I show you this building, world's tallest building, priced $500 million, and Islamic bond at a profit of about 8.5%. First UAE sukuk of the year was oversubscribed. So that's one of the sukuks. Interestingly, I brought some other ones. There are too many. The millions of sukuk. For example, in London alone, London-based financial analysts have issued about 30 sukuk in London. Gambia in Africa, after they issued the first one in 2008, they issued 29 after it. So just some of them so that we can appreciate. The one in Germany I mentioned, 2004, Germany built a state, the federal state of Saxony-Anhalt, with a 100 billion euro Islamic sukuk. And I have told you, they don't have Muslims there. They give a population of Muslims. London, Chelsea Barrack used to belong to the Defense Ministry. They built it into commercial residential accommodation. It was 2 billion pounds. Again in Dubai, they used one for their airport and it was about $1 billion US. The Gambia one was a salam sukuk. It was a short-term sukuk for maybe 30 days, 90 days investment, and it was 5 million Gambian dollars. At this point, I want to let you know that Islamic investment based on Islamic principles are for everybody. We will not make a road with sukuk and now say it's only for Muslims. So Christians go and pass another road. We won't say that. We will not say that they should not invest. They trust us with money. Anytime we bring up a project, they come up with their money because we will give them their returns. We won't say that. There's also a wide range of investment options that you have seen. The global experience and track record show that Islamic investments can often outperform the non-Islamic products. Innovations have been responsible for growth. People are thinking, people are using their Islam to bring out things. It's interesting when you search deeply into this sukuk. We understand that amongst the Muslims in the past, there's something they had called a sek, which is a singular of sukuk, a sek. Some people say that sek is where they got check from. I don't know much. I'm not an ustaz. However, we found that when the Muslims traded amongst themselves, it became very cumbersome to carry 5 camels of gold, 5 camels to carry the things they were going to buy. So amongst the Muslim traders, decided that they will have a custodian in the market. You want to put your gold with the custodian, he will give you a piece of paper called SEC. You enter the market. As you are buying, you will give the seller the SEC with your seal on it. And go to the custodian and collect your gold. That's how all these things started. And that's what has metamorphosized into the school. I'm also telling you that investor appetite is very strong. People, when they buy sukuk in the international market, you know the bond you buy, you want to sell when you need money. People don't sell sukuk, they just sit on it. They just sit on it. Because they don't even have any other one to buy. There's not enough sukuk in the market for them to invest their money. Because they are passionate about investing in non-interest way. And I also mentioned that over $1 trillion available in Islamic asset management in the world. And it is growing. At years when they pray, it will double, it will triple. And that's what is happening. And Allah is the one that is driving his own thing. Because I don't think I can see any individual and say, this is the person that is driving it. Even in Nigeria today, I have told you many things that happened even before Sanusi. He has come to add to it, but lots of things have happened behind me. For us to put it all together, I brought some banking products that it will sell to you. The first one there is the deposit contract. And it is the only loan that we have seen in the Quran, which is what? Qablasa, where Allah says you can give him a good loan. You see it? That's the product. The other one is sale-based that I've explained it, Muraba. Lease-based Tijara, equity-based Mudaraba, and then fee-based contracts like a guarantee. You can send somebody to do something on your behalf and pay him. Then we have the hybrid contract like diminishing musharaka, which is where you and financial institution own an asset and you buy them off over a period. And you pay them rent for using the asset. Now interestingly, I have just 5 minutes. So I'm going to just rush through the slides and pick the final slide, which is on what we are going to see happen. Keeping your eyes open on the issues and not the sentiments, please take note, Muslims. Oftentimes when people challenge us in this area, because we lack the knowledge, we begin to talk sentiments. To us, it is the form of the financing that we need, not the name. If they like, let them take Islamic out of it. As long as it does not have riba, it's good for our religion. Let's take note of that. Islamic banking is for all and not made compulsory on anybody. Please let us know that riba is in the Ummah. Let us know that mosques and associations are investing in riba. And Muslims are consuming riba. Muslim companies cannot avoid riba. So in it is a challenge. In it is an opportunity for those who are like the Chinese to say crisis means opportunity. The same word that means crisis means opportunity. There's a knowledge gap which Jais will open today and they're supposed to open in the last quarter of this year. There are no people who have the knowledge to work there. Even me that you are seeing me here, I deliver lecture almost all over the world now in this area. Human capital requirement today is already beyond the Muslims. Sharia advisory, non-availability of people with matching skills. I've explained this to you. There's a corporate phobia in the human. People seem to have preference for subsistence living. They don't want to do business more than 300,000 naira business. I don't know how the bank is going to grow your wealth when your thinking is that business should be in your briefcase. We also think only about SME. Nobody wants to set up a PLC or big companies. They were also absent in the media. My stars has always been complaining about this. Let's think about it. These programs on television, who is going to carry on? We should ask ourselves, what happened to Light Up on Light? What happened to all the beautiful Muslim programs on TV? Well, we are not there. We need products, we need banks, and we need to have a sovereign sukuk. Why do we need a sovereign sukuk? To have a sovereign sukuk, that is a sukuk that is backed by the federal government. It becomes like the conventional bond. And the banks can now, as of right, invest money the pension funds can invest their money in it, and to that extent they will satisfy the law and have Sharia compliant banks, Sharia compliant pension fund, and so on. So that's where we are going. We need to, there's a problem of reducing, the challenge of reducing poverty in the woman is there. We need financial inclusion. Muslims should bring in their money to the financial sector. Formalizing business structures. Don't put business in your pocket. Get it properly accounted. Put the corporate governance that's required. Institutionalizing welfare and WAF are taken together. People, our scholars have been dying. Dr. Lukadi had an accident. We even raise money for immediate surgery. Why not have an endowment which is already funded in the Sharia as WAF to take care of people's health? Countries that we are proud of as Islamic countries today, when you see them, this is what they've done. Whereas in areas like Malaysia, they even have a WAF to pay money to children that throw away money. Let me give an example. On rice. Who first said, oh, the rice no. In Malaysia, they have a WAF to refund that money. They have a WAF to pay people to go and sit in the hospital and talk to somebody who is dying. This is not what we are supposed to be doing. Yeah, they've taken it from us. The Christians have taken it. The Bill Gates Foundation, they are using WAF model. And all these things we found in the series, part of what we are supposed to do. My last slide. The reason why Islamic banking will achieve and accelerate development is that one, there will be financial inclusion. I have data on research done, and it points to the fact that 50% of the Nigerian adults who should be in the financial sector are not there. There's Coca-Cola, there's Fanta, let's have Mirinda, and then let's have Soko, Abi. So Islamic banking will bring in new things. And if it brings new things, we also find out that the price will fall. There are some things we see in banking, like COT. In most countries, it's foreign. But in Nigeria, they impose it on us. 5 naira per thousand. And they've taken your money, they've invested your money, they've made profit out of your money. Because they place money overnight. They are not going to give you any share of it, so yet they will still pay for giving them your money. Socio-economic justice. People feel more involved. You see Islamic finance, you pay the one who carries the wheelbarrow, you pay the farmer who brings the product, everybody gets paid in the course of a transaction. Even the one who just has the knowledge and no money in his pocket. There is financial stability because the country is able to determine where to take money from. Not all this type that Obasanjo spoke about. And there is foreign direct investment. Because this money that we are talking about, that is buying all the investments worldwide, is only Sharia compliant money. It is easy for us to get in foreign direct investment into the country. So that 32 trillion is not a problem in terms of Islamic funding. If the products we use will be Sharia compliant. So at the end of the day, these will be able to deliver infrastructure to us in Nigeria. Assalamu alaikum.
To appreciate the lectures, agree once again. Alhamdulillah, 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 Rabbil Alameen.
Okay, thank you very much. I think this is an interesting edition, which I believe all of us have really enjoyed. In fact, when he ended and I saw Salam Alaikum on that slide, I thought that's the end of chapter 1. Because he really took it from a practitioner's perspective. And I believe you all have learned from that. I just want to re-echo some of the things he has said, and then ask one or two questions also from him. First is, because the topic has to do with Islamic banking and development. There are two critical issues which he mentioned, which I think we should not forget. First is how we can use Islamic banking or Islamic finance to accelerate our development in terms of building infrastructure. He has said there are about 32 trillion fund requirements for our hospitals, for our universities, for our transportation, roads, railways, and so on and so forth. And you have quite a lot of money sitting down out there, especially in the Middle East, the petrochemical products that are looking for halal investment all over the world. So Nigeria will have this opportunity to tap into that area now if we embrace Islamic banking. Second is the fact that you cannot say Nigeria will become a financial hub for Africa or for even West Africa, where you have a financially exclusive system of finance. Now we have Islamic banking in South Africa, you have in Nairobi. These are visionary countries that are already looking far ahead of us.